Hey, everybody. Welcome to another training report. 7 days later, 2 training reports in a week. It's what we love to see. By popular demand, I read the comments last week, and by popular demand, I was tasked to bring back Nick. Nick, hello, mate.
I was very flattered. I saw a few of those comments. That was very good for the ego. How are you, mate?
Yes.
All right, good to be back. Thanks for having me again.
No worries. No worries. I think first of all, the feedback was immense, and also I spoke to you earlier today. I genuinely am on a mission with the tipping competition to get this thing at record numbers. So we're going to plug it again.
We had a very, very good day today at that training. We had little flyers we've printed off, handing out with a little QR code for how to join the tipping competition for the Cheersquad, and we ended up getting Dino on it. And Dino, I reckon, handed out about 150 in the heat, and very amount of the people he is. But we've gotten a few just today. So thanks for everyone who was at training today and said g'day to us and signed up for tipping. But everyone else out there, make sure you get on the Cheersquad's tipping and get in the running for some wicked prizes too.
Absolutely. Link will be in the description again, guys. So make sure you enter and get around it. Mate, let's get into it because, I mean, I wasn't there last week. I was there for a little bit of this morning. And judging on the vibe of last week, I mean, it was a little bit wet as well. And the sun was out today. But there were people everywhere. There was energy everywhere.
Yeah, huge turnout. Last week, I was very impressed with the turnout. I'm not good with numbers, but I'm guessing about 500-600 or so last week. It was in the wet. It was raining. So 500 or 600 people turning up just watching the rain. Today was the lower section on what was the Legends stand / Pratt stand, the newer part. The entire lower section absolutely full, standing room full, and that spilled upstairs into the Legends stand as well. Obviously, a bit of shade up there. Conservatively, a couple of thousand people at a training session. Like, it was awesome, and not just in numbers, but kids flocking to the fence to try and get autographs and see up close and personal. Every time Cripps went past, kids are cheering, and there's a few teenage kids getting Carlton chants going at one stage, and just a really cool atmosphere, really cool vibe. And yeah, the guys on the park, they didn't let anyone down with their intensity and the look of their performance on the track, because they put on a pretty cool display for all those who were there to see it.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I think today was the first day or the first training session that I've been to or the first time in this preseason where I've started to feel the juices really flowing. And I think, the way they trained today, there's a much higher intensity than what it was apparently last week.
Yep.
And then also, like you said, just the electricity in the crowd, and like, you look around. I mean, there were easily thousands of people, and you're like, yep. We're about to blow the lid off the excitement train again.
100%. And not only that, like, every conversation you have with others around us, like, there's teenagers talking to each other every time. I think there was one I overheard a couple of kids, and Tom de Koning ran past. Oh, how good does he look? They said to each other. Oh, he's going to tear Richmond a new one. And they're already talking about round one. Everyone's already in that mindset of, how good is this kid going to be, and how good does that guy look? So it's just encouraging, and it's just good. Like, this time of year, every team is flying at this time of year. Every single report you see from training, they're training the house down, is one thing. But when you go and see them in person, and you today, you came out and you're saying, a couple of boys, it's not just hype, it's not just, what the club wants to put out propaganda-wise. A couple of our guys are absolutely flying on top of the track at the moment. Just making it look so easy. Very, very good signs. Again, last week was a good sign. It was good to see them. Very low intensity. It was more, that kid looks like they've got a bit of speed, or that young fella's got put a few kilos on. Today they upped the intensity, and you got a bit of a clearer picture about what their structure is going to look like, what their game plan and their ball movement might look like, and some very, very good signs today.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I'll just recap some of the names that I saw. I wrote some down. I mean, there are more to add to this, so maybe you can add to this for me.
Sure.
But I noticed the following guys still running laps. Nothing's really changed from last week. Marchie was doing laps on the side. He was also in the gym doing some leg work.
Yep.
Walsh was also doing his laps, but at a bit more of a quicker pace. I don't know what to read into that, but we'll just.
I'll say it again. I really hope someone just, when it needs time, just pull him back a tiny bit. He's Terminator. You can't hurt him.
Exactly. Cunners, Honey, and Fogarty were all running laps. No McGovern, but we were told that Monday was a really intense session and it was just a rest for him. But apparently he is up and about.
Yeah, all reports that I heard from the last training session, I think David King put a thing out saying he was the star of the track the last session. So no one worry about him. He's fine. Slight niggle, corky, whatever it is, he's good as gold.
Yeah. I saw Jack Martin. He didn't train at all. He came out. He was actually in just runners. He took some shots on goal. Again, he's just had a child. I don't know what, whatever his program is.
2 or 3 week old kid at home. I think he's had a week or so off, and good luck to him. Congratulations to him.
Yep. I'll tell you, this was low-key the best news of the day. George Hewett, he's back.
How good was it to see him out there?
Oh, mate.
And taking part in everything. It wasn't like he was just on a modified program or anything. He was in the thick of it when they did their little match sim and, 15 on 15 or whatever they did. He was amongst it and busy amongst it too.
Yeah. There was a passage of play. I'm not sure if I caught it in the training highlights video that I just posted. I don't remember. But there was a passage of play where he fended off somebody and just got a really clean handball out in traffic. And, he is one of the more valuable pieces to the midfield puzzle just because of what he does to allow the others to do their best. So to get him ready for round, to get
those
him
last
ready
couple
for
of games
round,
it fell over.
Yeah, for sure. Who else did you notice, or what else did you notice today?
Look, in terms of those who are still doing laps and stuff, Murkov was only doing a few laps as well. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. So you mentioned Fogarty. Yeah, pretty much they were the only ones. The only ones other than those who were missing is didn't see Cottrell. Obviously, he's not there. Lewis Young didn't take part much, but was there. So for the last training session, we said that he was in the moon boot because of the rolled ankle. He's there. He's fine. He's taking part. Just he's had a week off. And Boyd was there also. So he's also on the injured list, but he was there and doing his modified program with Matt Kennedy. I don't know what's wrong with Kennedy. He left the track early last week. But this week, again, doing very modified things. But we've heard from the club and they've sent out releases about Andrew Russell and everything, how very much an individualised program will be something that every player is doing. And you only had to see the performance of someone like Zach Williams today to show what that can do for someone. But, yeah, I think you'll see, we saw a lot of Russell today, but I saw Luke Power directing traffic, a lot of, so-and-so, you've been out here for half an hour, your turn to go inside and do whatever it is they've got to do. So it looks very organised, very deliberate. A lot of players might do 10 minutes of a 20-minute drill and then go inside to do something else. So very much tailored for each individual player's needs and where they're at fitness-wise. But, in terms of those standouts, Zach Williams is one. I heard his name come up. I think David King mentioned about the last training session, his name, and I thought he was incredible to see today. I thought both Corey Durden and Jesse Motlop, this video could go for an hour if I get talking about those two. I thought not only did they both look in incredible shape, but the positions they were getting to at the fall of the ball in front of Harry and Charlie, respectively, chase and tackles. There was a Durden smother I know you mentioned. Did you get the footage of that?
I did. It's in the video.
And a couple of really beautiful. There's Motlop seemed to be playing a tiny bit higher outside of 50 or on a forward flank. And there was one or two times he hit Charlie on the tit, just delivering it inside 50, just putting it right here for him, lace out. Very encouraging signs. There was another one where I think it might have been Charlie or Koning went up for a mark inside 50, kind of gets spoiled, and the perfect crumb out the back was Durden, who doesn't break stride, catches it, turns around, swings onto the right, and kicks it over his shoulder. And one of the more better timed crumbing goals you'll see, they were both electric. So they're both guys who I'm looking for. I mentioned them both last week. They put on a few kilos. They haven't slowed down at all. I'm looking for both of those guys to. We've got two tall forwards who are match winners. if we get a couple of smalls at their feet who can be damaging as well, then look out.
Yeah, for sure. So the names for me that, caught my attention, and again, this is probably more of the whole training session that I saw a bit of the match sim as well. There was a lot more match sim today than not, but yeah, you mentioned him, Zach Williams. They really look to get the ball through his hands a lot more.
Absolutely.
A lot of long kicking, a lot of width in the match sim as well. The runners it was a real feature. Akers on one wing. He has a really good ability to just find space. So I thought him and Williams looked impressive to me. Loved what I saw from young Ollie Hollands. And then both Pitto and Tom de Koning were very impressive. Tom was, I don't know what he was on today, but he was trying to take mark of the year every single time. I think I saw
he's
him
almost put his knee in the back of someone's head anytime soon. He's just standing on people's heads at training.
Yeah. He's
if he had to punch that other one, it would have been something special if anyone had had a photo of it. There was one in particular. He was in Andrew Walker areas. It just didn't hang on to it.
Yeah. No, he was. There were two passages of play in a row where he put his knee right into Jacob Wiedering's back and started seeing Wiedering get a little angry, which I love to see. But I think with Tom, what I noticed today, just a little thought, like he's starting to really add some strength to that body, and he wasn't getting dominated by Pitto as maybe what he usually does.
Very good call. I'm glad you mentioned Hollands as well. So both he and Jackson Binns, the two new fellas, first two picks we had in the draft, they're just natural runners. They both stood on a wing and run up and down the wing all day. Hollands in particular seems to be an accumulator as well. He just found the footy, or the footy found him as well at times, but is always in the right spot. If they're getting out of needing that kick out of defensive 50, he's providing an option up on the wing or half forward, centre wing area. But both of them ran all day, and by the end of training, neither of them looked even remotely puffed. So they've both got an engine at a young age, and they just ran up and down the wings all day. So incredibly good signs there. And you mentioned Akers as well. I even thought O'Brien covered a lot of ground. There was one moment he got tackled and we all kind of went, and he looked to have hurt himself, got up limping. And then about 5 minutes later, they're doing laps and he almost overlapped everyone else because he just got on his bike and got on with the job and kept going, which was really encouraging. If I've had any knock on Lockie, it's kind of been the physicality side of his game. Well, he took a fair hit in that tackle. Not only did he get back up, and he was almost overlapping everyone. And when they were doing the little time trial or whatever it was they were doing, he was very encouraging as well to see after that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the other thing as well, from what I noticed from like the full ground drills that we did, in terms of what I'm trying to guess might be a thing this year. I mean, last year, obviously, it was about being a better contested side and harder for longer and more consistent and all of that. But the speed in which we're going to be moving the ball
movement.
Based off what I saw today, like we're really, and now that might come with some mistakes or whatever the case, but they made a real concerted effort every time there was either a turnover or every time there was a score, straight back in, turn around, go next, back up the ground.
And with a lot of these young kids that we've drafted who bring run and carry and speed, leg speed through the between the arcs, they were playing genuine wing positions and playing that role. And that's something we've all been crying out for several years. How many times do we play a Collingwood and steal side bottoms out on his own on the wing, just finds that space, or whoever? There's those sort of players. Brayshaw in the second last round had about 50 kicks on us. So those the two young fellas coupled with O'Brien and Akers on the other side were just running all day. But you mentioned Williams. Doherty playing through the midfield as well was another one. A lot of give and goes. They'll get the ball, give that handball out to someone running past. I thought Fisher was pretty well involved. I saw Sardi with a lot. There was one moment where he got a really, really good intercept, run out of halfback and kicks it and hits a target up on the wing, and the entire crowd woofs him. It was really good to see. But yeah, the ball movement. But it was not only the speed, but the quality of ball movement. It's all well and good to move it quick, but that can, as you say, come with mistakes. For the most part, they were pretty crisp. There was only one or two guys who I thought their foot skills were pretty poor. Jack Carroll worried me a bit with his kicking at times, but he found it a lot. But yeah, a lot of the guys, it's one thing to move it quick, but they were using it probably the right option and good execution skill-wise as well.
There were a few extras as well. I did some digging. There were a few AFL Academy players. There were a few VFL players just to help with the numbers. There's one guy in particular that was out there today, and I don't know what this is going to mean moving forward, if he's going to be maybe looking for a spot on the VFL list, but Ben Ronk was out there.
Was that the blonde one?
Blonde-ish. But yeah, Ben Ronk, the one that played for Sydney, he was out there today.
Yeah. So he burst on the scene as a small forward, kicked 5 or 6 in his first game or something, didn't he? And
7.
7. Oh well, okay, sign him up, mate. There was a handful who were, and a lot of these guys were wearing different numbers and got new haircuts and everything. So it's really hard to tell those guys apart. Do you remember what number he was wearing?
I don't remember what number he was wearing, but I was told and had it confirmed that he was out there today. So
okay. I did notice Luke Parks, so formerly on our list, now on our VFL list.
Yep. Put
on some kilos as Big Lukey. He's looking very good. So he's one to watch in the VFL. Hopefully, for his sake, stakes a claim to, if we do need any key defensive options or anything like we did during last season, well, then he might be half a chance to try and get himself redrafted is obviously his goal, staying amongst the group. Who else did we notice out there? I think it was Ned Carl I noticed out there, again from our VFL group as well. But yeah, it's good to see that sort of depth coming through, whether it's academies or coming through, even the VFL guys. We had I thought a lot of our better players during last season were our VFL listed players. So we've got a lot of talent there. We can actually keep people on the park and have a strong year injury-free. Our AFL listed players can obviously put in a good stint in the VFL, and they might be able to make a run for finals and other things in the VFL as well as the seniors.
Yeah, no, spot on. There's one more piece of information that I forgot to mention, which is crucial. So last week I had a few messages about Brodie Kemp, and people saw him in a drill or at times in a midfield group. Brodie Kemp is not and will not be a midfielder this year. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same page with that. He will be he was training as a defender today. And I think there might have been a bit of confusion because people saw him in the midfield last week and thought maybe we're doing something there, but it was confirmed for me today that he's not a midfielder. So
100%. I think they see him as a key defender or an intercept defender as well. I think McGovern's role is going to be less of an maybe a bit of intercepting, but more of he's down back as that rebounder, and ball use will be his primary weapon. So that kind of offers up Kemp to kind of fight alongside Marchbank for a spot, really, if he's going to have a crack down there. But yeah, I thought Kempy was all right today. He was kind of running with Harry Mackay for a bit, and there was 1 or 2 moments where we kind of got the front position and Harry had no option but to push him in the back and got a free kick and stuff. So I thought Kempy actually looked all right down back today.
It's no better development path than playing on Harry Mackay and Charlie Curnow.
100%. Well, that's true. Like, the last 2 common medalists. So, you got to be the best to play on. You got to play on the best to be the best. So, no, I strongly agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one, if there's going to be one negative from the day, I'm not going to focus on any negatives, but we mentioned it last week. Lockie Plowman's beard. I'm sorry to say, everyone is gone.
I didn't notice that.
He came out of training at the end of the day and he was in a hoodie, and I was like, what the hell are you doing? It's 30 degrees. The beard's gone, and I was just shattered. I was like, well, we only knew it was a fleeting romance we had with it for a week. It's gone already.
I think it was the perfect move for him. Just a little bit of a change up in obviously his look, just to give people something else to think about. And
points to style. Yeah.
I'm a bit disappointed with that, but
I was shattered. It was only as we were leaving, I saw him. I was like, oh no, look.
I mean, look, listen. He's a chiseled man. He's a very chiseled man. Very, very, very in shape man. So if that's what he wants to do, then so be it. Before we go, that's it from my end. Did you anything else of note from your end?
No, look, you mentioned I think your key point was my key point. The ball movement and ball speed was just incredible. I think it's just awesome as well that the small forward brigade is my takeaway from the day. Owies was out there doing well, so don't anyone think I'm forgetting about Matt Owies and Fisher, and Honey was doing his own thing on the modified program. But if anyone wants to get excited about any players, make sure that it is Corey Durden and Jesse Motlop. If they were stock, I would be buying all in blue chip stock in them right now. Explosive energy all day. They both look in great shape. They both put on a few kilos, and they both look primed to just run and run and run. Adam Chero, I mentioned last week, he's also in fantastic nick. So if anyone's worried about whatever time we're going to miss Sammy Walsh, and obviously you're going to miss a bloke like Walsh, but however long he's out for, I'd be looking for Chera and Doherty to step into that midfield void and step up there. And I think we're in good hands in both of those hands. Be encouraged, Carlton fans, because it's only training, but what we saw today, it's worth getting excited over.
It's not only training, mate. Today was the day the Kool-Aid started pouring a little bit.
I think we said something today about they're not only going to win the flag this year, they're going to win the 3-1, the 3 after that as well. So
yeah,
4 people.
Yeah. So before we go, just a reminder, ladies and gents, $25, the tipping competition. Link is in the description. Nick, just remind us again, the top 3 win a big ass prize.
Yeah, so we're not only giving away a first prize, our first, second and third place getters will all get the major prize, which is the team signed Guernsey. So 2023 team signed Guernsey for the top 3. And yeah, all money just helps out the Cheersquad. All our funds go towards things like making banners, making new flags, all that sort of stuff, making the place look colourful and vibrant, and bringing the energy as much as we bring the noise each week. We've got to bring some colour and passion to the joint. And round 1 isn't far away, less than 50 days, I think someone said today.
50 days today. Today is 50 days away.
Today, 50. Oh, there you go. The countdown's on. And I also heard today, I think it might have been official, the last week of Feb, they've announced Pracky games. We're playing, I don't know where, but we're playing Collingwood in a Pracky game. So another opportunity to really kind of get more serious and see where they are at. So a few of these guys were mentioning the kids like Hollands and Binns and stuff as the young kids. If they start getting a gig in the Pracky game and they look okay, jump on them for the season if you do fantasy or Supercoach, whatever you do, because they're looking impressive on the track. I know that much.
For sure. Nick, thanks a lot, mate. Appreciate it.
Pleasure as always. Go the Blues, everyone.
Go Blues.